Welcome. Video supports the service of our wonderful volunteers at St Jude's Anglican Church in Bowral by explaining our food safety arrangements. My name is Stephen Horn, and it's my privilege to serve as one of your church wardens. We acknowledge the triune God, the three-in-one, creator of heaven and earth, and his ownership of all things. We recognise that he gave stewardship of these lands upon which we meet to the First Nations people of this country. In his sovereignty, he has allowed other groups to migrate to these shores. We acknowledge the cultures of our First Nations peoples and are thankful for the community that we share together now. In this place that we now call Bowral, we pay our respects to the Gundungurra and Tharawal peoples, their elders both past, present and emerging, and those who are rising to become leaders. We also pay respect to civil leaders and authorities and acknowledge with thanks the legal requirements and guidance they have provided in the area of food safety, which we support and commit to uphold. Our parishioners and the broader community expect us to operate safely, competently, and in compliance with all legal requirements. Alongside standard legal requirements, the Sydney Diocese also has a parish governance policy that sets out various rules and expectations for all parishes to ensure proper governance and oversight of their activities. Your wardens, with the assistance of your parish council, oversight all of these requirements and put in place relevant policies, procedures and ways of working. Risk management is essential to parish governance. While often associated with corporations, every organisation must address risk, although approaches differ based on their size and the scale of their activities. At St Jude's, the Parish Council formed a risk management committee, which I convene. The committee oversees risk and legal compliance in St Jude's, delivering our ministry work to our community. As part of that, we oversee food safety for the Parish Council, and I will now share a few slides to highlight the main points relevant to your role as a valued volunteer. So, food safety. At St Jude's, our risk management policy has 3 levels to it. I'll just quickly go through that just to give you some context for how this all holds together. Firstly, our parish risk management policy, which sets out our commitment, our objectives, responsibilities, and our framework for risk management. And this is approved and reviewed by the Parish Council. We then have a parish risk register, which is the centrepiece of our risk management. It details our risk landscape, which has 7 domains, talks about key risks, an assessment of the control adequacy, and action plans for control enhancement and continuous control monitoring arrangements over those risks and controls. And thirdly, we have risk management procedures, tools, and operating procedures, which are detailed procedures and resources to ensure that appropriate and consistent approaches are taken in how we do things. This video forms part of those components. Our risk register, which has 7 domains, covers a really wide range of risk areas, one of which is called services and events. And within that, the area of food hygiene is relevant, and that's what we're talking about today. At a high level, we have a risk management procedure around food safety, which sets out a few guiding principles for us. Firstly, we understand that events and activities at St Jude's cover a wide spectrum. They vary greatly by nature, scale, duration, location, complexity. The risks associated with such activities vary accordingly, as does our approach to managing and mitigating those risks. We classify events as higher or lower risk based on the following criteria. Higher risk activities involving food and beverage are those defined as being directly controlled by St Jude's and large, above 50 persons, or more complex based on the nature and complexity of that event or its location and facilities. Lower risk activities are defined as those that are either directly controlled by St Jude's, but smaller, only up to 50 persons, or less complex based on their nature. It also covers events that are not directly controlled by St Jude's, but are held on our official premises. Excluded activities from this policy are off-site Connect group gatherings. We'll talk about on-site Connect group gatherings in a moment. Off-site activities without St Jude's knowledge or involvement, and gatherings as an act of friendship or personal service. All of those are excluded from these requirements. Except as may be prescribed by law, St Jude's asserts no direct or vicarious liability in relation to the excluded activities. Every activity involving food and beverage that is directly controlled by St Jude's is required to be approved by either a member of the ministry team, a warden, or the church office. And every approved activity that is directly controlled by St Jude's must have a designated leader identified, someone that we can coordinate with. For higher risk activities, the designated leaders of those activities are provided with the following documentation, and they're urged to review it and diligently apply it in organising and oversighting their designated activity. The guidance includes a copy of the publication called Risk Management Module 5 Food Safety, produced by the diocese. I'll talk about that in a little while. The St Jude's Food Safety Ready Reckoner. I'll also talk about that in a little while. And any event-specific procedures that were developed for that designated activity. For lower risk activities, designated leaders are provided with a St Jude's Food Safety Ready Reckoner, and that's a source of guidance for you in assessing and managing the risks associated with that activity. Now, whilst arrangements should reflect the nature and level of risk for the activity, noting that these are generally lower risk activities, the key aspects of food safety still ought to be applied in all cases, such as avoiding high allergy risk foods like nuts, shellfish, crustaceans, and their derivatives, not serving if feeling unwell in any way, hand hygiene, food preparation hygiene, and refrigeration rules. So these arrangements cover Connect group gatherings on St Jude's premises. Gatherings at private homes and elsewhere are excluded. So for Connect group gatherings at St Jude's on our premises, we ask that the people involved look at the Ready Reckoner and have a consideration of what risks there might be, noting that those activities are likely to be very low risk. Designated leaders of lower risk activities that are not directly controlled by St Jude's, but are held on our official premises, are asked to respect and be mindful of arrangements set out in 4.1 above, our Ready Reckoner. In particular, the key aspects of food safety ought still to be applied. So this covers any outside organisations who are running their own gatherings and events on St Jude's premises, but are not St Jude's events. Where outside organisations are running St Jude's events, then the formal requirements that we've already mentioned will apply. The thing is, we're not expected to know everything about this already. Guidance and support is available. And there's 3 levels that's available for us. So firstly is the Diocese Detailed Guide. This is called Risk Management Module 5 and is a very comprehensive document. The second level is the Food Safety Ready Reckoner, which we've designed ourselves for our own situation to be suitable for the sorts of arrangements that we need to be careful of. And then thirdly, there's training. We have periodic face-to-face training. And in between those face-to-face training opportunities, this video serves as refresher training for anybody that needs a quick top-up, and for anybody who's joined and is helping out in our one of our events in between the times when we've had the formal training available. I want to quickly give a little video from the Food Safety Authority, which just touches on some key points, and then I'll go on to our particular local arrangements.
When you don't follow basic food safety rules, you could be putting yourself and others in danger. Reduce the risk of food poisoning with our 4 golden rules. Keep it cold. Defrost and marinate food in the fridge, especially raw meat. Left food out for more than 2 hours? Use it or eat it, but don't put it back in the fridge. Throw it out if it's been out of the fridge for more than 4 hours. Bacteria can grow in the temperature danger zone of 5 to 60 degrees Celsius. Keep it clean. Before handling food, whether preparing a snack or a meal, wash your hands thoroughly. Keep benches and equipment clean and dry. Salads and uncooked foods can become contaminated from raw meat. Always use different cutting boards, plates, and knives when preparing raw meat, as raw meat juices contain food poisoning bugs. Don't prepare food for others when you are ill, as bacteria can be transferred to food. Keep it hot. Cook your food properly. Check there is no pink left in mince and sausages. Cooking all the way through kills dangerous bugs and bacteria in meat. Invest in a thermometer to be sure food is cooked through. Check the label to keep yourself and others safe. Always check for allergens, storage instructions, and a use-by date. It may look and smell okay, but it won't be safe after the use-by date. If in doubt, throw it out. Keep it cold, keep it clean, keep it hot, check the label. For more information on food safety, visit foodauthority.nsw.gov.au.
So, a few words from the Food Authority, and now some information that we have at St Jude's for our local arrangements. So the guidance and support that I mentioned includes, firstly, the Diocese Detailed Guide. This is primarily to support designated leaders of food activities and events, particularly the higher risk form. It is very comprehensive. It covers all of the issues in food safety that would basically apply in a commercial kitchen, noting that we're not a commercial food provider, but this does cover a great range of areas. So if you look through this, this will give you great confidence as a leader that you are across all of the many issues that there might be for food safety for larger and more complex higher risk events. A reference copy is located in the kitchen for you to look at, and personal copies are available via the office. Please just ask if you would like one of those. The St Jude's summarised refresher, what we call our Ready Reckoner, is for everyone. It's a simplified version, a checklist, if you like, a memory jogger. A reference copy is located in the kitchen, and personal copies are available via the office if you would like your own. I'm going to go through a few of the key points in it in a moment. So, this doesn't cover everything that's in the guide, but a few of the key points that I'd like to highlight are, firstly, please don't prepare, serve, or assist with food arrangements in any way if you are unwell. We're very grateful that volunteers are dedicated, but out of love for others, please don't take any chances. Any level of feeling unwell is a signal to play it safe. Hygiene, obviously a key area of food safety. So a couple of points I'd like to cover. Firstly, washing hands using warm water and soap, and dry using disposable paper towels, not a tea towel, because they have bacteria, before handling any food. Hands should be washed whenever changing tasks, after handling any foreign object not associated with the food service, such as a mobile phone perhaps, after visiting the bathroom, going outside, or any other activity where contamination of your hands could occur. Wash them again. Disposable gloves are available if desired. However, please note that gloves must be changed whenever any of the situations I've just mentioned occur. So if you pick up your mobile phone, go to the bathroom, go outside, or change food types, you would need to change your gloves as well. So washing hands is one way. If you wear gloves, they're not a solution to everything, and you would need to still change the gloves regularly. Disposable gloves are provided in the St. Jude's kitchen for that purpose, but St. Jude's does support the reduced use of plastics, and we note that gloves are plastic. Clothing should be clean, hair should be tied back or enclosed in a hairnet or cap so we don't get contamination into the food. No animals, please, can be present in food preparation areas, and unsupervised children may present hygiene risks in food preparation or serving areas. So please monitor for this situation and apply your discretion to the arrangements. Contamination of food is one issue, but allergic reactions is equally as important. So we've put a few rules in place about this. Firstly, no nuts, shellfish or crustaceans or their derivatives are to be brought to events controlled by St. Jude's or used in preparing Meals Care Ministry meals. Nut derivatives include oils such as peanut or macadamia oil. And if you're preparing gluten-free, note that almond meal is a nut flour, and so it's also not permitted. Other forms of seafood are okay, either fresh and processed. So favourites like fish fingers and tuna mornay, salmon sandwiches, tuna sandwiches, they're all fine, subject to normal food safety rules, of course. We know these limitations can be inconvenient, but allergic reactions can be very serious. So out of love for others, please avoid bringing along or using any of these high allergy risk food items. This restriction also extends to food ordered via third parties, such as Meals on Wheels. So when ordering, please make them aware of these restrictions. Refrigeration is a key point to be bearing in mind as well. The default position is to refrigerate. Don't put perishable food out too early. Sometimes for convenience, we like to get set up early, but where perishable food is concerned, keeping it in the fridge as long as possible is really the number one preference. Also, putting them back in the fridge as soon as possible is really something to be mindful of. What is perishable, some people will ask, meaning does it need refrigeration? Look, we're not expected to be food scientists here, so common sense can be our guide. And if you're in any doubt about whether an item is perishable, the safe position is treat it as perishable. Unrefrigerated perishable food is very high risk. Perishable food items left out for over 2 hours cannot be put back in the fridge. They must be consumed immediately or thrown out. And perishable food left out for over 4 hours must be thrown away. No exceptions, please. Bacterial contamination risks are too high. So let me just go over that one once again to be clear. If it's a perishable food item and it's been left out for over 2 hours, it can't go back in the fridge. It still can be consumed, but it can't go back in the fridge. If it's been out for under 2 hours, then it can be put into the fridge, which will extend its safe life a little longer. If it's been left out for over 4 hours, a perishable food item has to then be thrown out. So those rules are important to bear in mind and maybe a little inconvenient, we know, but really are quite important. Now, we know that discarding food and wastage is something that none of us like to do. We don't like to throw out items that have been out for over 4 hours. It might seem unnecessary. And we understand about wanting to save leftovers and avoiding waste, but it is essential to prioritise people's safety. Research on how quickly bacteria grow in unrefrigerated perishable food and the health risks associated shows that any perishable food left out for over 4 hours really does need to be thrown away. Still, there are ways that we can cut down on food waste, such as refrigerating perishable food quickly. Keep it in the fridge as long as possible and then put it back in the fridge as quickly as possible. Avoid leaving it out for more than 2 hours and plan order quantities next time more carefully so that we'll reduce the amount of wastage. These are just a few key points in the Ready Reckoner. There is a range of further useful items in the Ready Reckoner, so please read that document. Reference copy is, as I mentioned, located in the kitchen, and a personal copy, if you would want one, is available via the office. We need your help. We all make mistakes, and it's very easy to forget things when we're busy doing things, so please help one another to remember and uphold safe food practices. Even if some of these requirements are new or seem unnecessary to you, we deeply value your experience and willingness to adapt. Everything we do at St Jude's is done with love and care for others, and your cooperation helps make that possible. Your designated leader can further assist you with any queries, and your feedback on how we can continue to evolve our food safety practices is always welcome. Thank you for watching and getting some information on safe food practices here at St Jude's. As I conclude, I just want to say thank you so much for your service. We are very grateful for it, and God bless you all.